Group chat here with Sammy P, Will, Geoff, and myself. This will focus primarily on the Kansas City Chiefs, whether it involves a game wager on the side of total, a Chiefs prop, anything to do Kansas City Chiefs. So I guess we'll start with you, Sammy. I know we've been talking all year about accumulating Chiefs wagers in the Super Bowl markets. What particularly sticks out to you involving the Chiefs, whether it's a game-related side total bet or a prop?
I think it's the tax on not only Mahomes, but the entire Chiefs passing offense. Yes, they've been better than they were in the regular season, Bear. I think we all understand that. But at the end of the day, these receivers are still not great. We know Travis Kelce is one of the best playoff performers of all time, but this is still a team that I think butters its bread with the running game. And Pacheco should have his fair share of carries and yards. So when we look at Mahomes, especially in the passing touchdown market, over 1.5 is going to be one of the most popular wagers of the entire week. Mahomes over this, Mahomes over that, but specifically over 1.5 passing touchdowns. It is 140, 150, 155, 160, 165. That's the juice you have to lay to win 100 on Mahomes. So at one sportsbook in this country, I took Mahomes under 1.5 passing touchdowns at plus 130. It's not to say he can't throw 2 or 3. I'm just never laying minus 160 on a team that has struggled to throw passing touchdowns all season long. So that's a bet that's not going to be popular. But mathematically, to me, at plus 130, I had to pull the trigger.
You know, if somebody woke up from a coma on Christmas, they're saying, what, the Chiefs are in this game? How did this happen? Like, what happened to get the Chiefs back into this game? Because they looked so bad for so many stretches, such long stretches this season. But I agree with a lot of what Sammy said. I think it's key here. I think it's still early enough where this applies, where if you like the overs on the popular players, the Mahomes, the Kelce's, and just we'll keep it to the Chiefs players for now. But if you like the overs, bet them as early as possible. If you like the unders late, because this is the Super Bowl, there's a lot of recreational money, a lot of $25, $50 bets. They add up and they affect the market. And the guys betting $25, $50, they want to bet the fun stuff. They want to bet the overs. They don't want to sit there and root for Mahomes to go under his passing total, touchdowns, yards, things like that. So overs, bet them early. Unders, bet them late. One I like, and I think will still go up, is Mahomes over rushing yards. It's at 26.5. It's funny. He had 2 carries for like 18 yards early against the Ravens in the AFC title game and then just stopped running. They sort of shut it down on offense, but big games, he tends to run more. Of course, you know, you have to sweat out possibly kneels at the end of the game if you do like the Chiefs to win this game. But I think Mahomes still has limited weapons. There will be 3, 4, 5 times where he takes off and runs, gets 6, 7, 8 yards at a clip. So to me, he'll be in the 30s, maybe 40s at some point. Again, you got to sweat out the knees, but Mahomes over rushing 25.5, 26.5. Of course, shop around. There's a lot of disparity in these numbers book to book. So shopping is very important this time of year, but Mahomes over rushing yards, one that sticks out to me, Bear.
Yeah, two things. I believe on that. I believe there was a prop on a number of Mahomes rushing attempts, which I think was 4.5, which that is a bet that I absolutely like, because you've got a number of ways to win that bet, whether it's the scrambles, whether it's if the Chiefs are winning the game. You got kneel downs at the end of the game, which count as rushing attempts, and that's not going to involve any yardage. It's just simply the attempt. So I'm with you there, Will. And you also mentioned something about, think back to December, Kansas City in this game. Are you kidding me? I don't know, Sammy, if you're able to like think back to like Christmas Day when, and this was something I wrote about in my 3 reasons to bet the Chiefs or bet the Niners type columns that I did. Like, you think back to that day of Christmas Day when the Chiefs just lost to the Raiders, allowed 2 non-offensive touchdowns. The offense was terrible. Their 3rd loss in 4 games, 4th loss in 6 games. Like, what would have San Francisco been favored against Kansas City? Like, if that game were played the week after Christmas, like, isn't San Francisco like a 5.5 point favorite? So aren't you kind of getting maybe a little bit of maybe value here maybe on San Francisco?
It's funny you bring that up, because the number to me on January 1st was San Francisco minus 5.3. So there you have it. But I know we're going to get to Mr. Chief in a second, and he's going to say the regular season doesn't matter. And I think there's probably truth to both of those statements, because you have a team that has been in 4 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. And you have a quarterback, Geoff, Mr. Chief, that has not turned the ball over one time this postseason. And I think there's something to be said about that. So we have really changed the weight of the number. And, power ratings are usually the combination of an entire season, where you really, when you're making a line in Vegas, like there's no way in hell the books could have opened San Francisco 3 or higher, because they would have written nothing but Chief money. They would have been completely liable on money line bets at plus 150, plus 160 or higher. And you also have to think there's the future liability, where San Francisco, after that 3-game losing streak, floated out to 10, 12 to 1, and then got hot and everybody bet the Niners for 5-6 straight weeks. So all of these factors are baked into the line. We did see the sharpest positions, though, boys and girls, on San Francisco when the money came in on Kansas City, night of the championship weekend, from 2.5 down to 1, and then just an avalanche of sharp money on Niners -1, Niners -1.5, and Niners on the money line.
Bear Bets full episodes drop twice a week right here on the Bear Bets YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to stay ahead of the odds, and let's celebrate all of our wins together.